All right, guys, it is Monday night. Honestly, don't even know the date. March 23rd, Holy Toledo. How many days are we in? Who knows? Here in California, we're, I think, day 4 into our, I don't know, isolation period. So I want to talk about a bunch of things. Mostly, I want to talk about you and how you're going to maneuver through this period of time. I think every single human being across the world, which is such a strange thing because normally we watch tragedies, right? When 9/11 happened, that was in New York, and we can kind of feel it, that 6 degrees of separation, but it was over there. When we've seen all of these tragedies in the world, in different parts of the world, you hear about it, you see it on the news, it's over there. But now, for the first time ever, this is something that's affecting everybody. And little by little, it's seeping more and more into those communities. So, we have to think about the fact that all of us are affected in some capacity. And this is where we have to understand, for the first time ever, we have an opportunity to really stand behind one another and look for the positives in this, right? Even today, I was listening to an information station on Orange County where I live, and they talked about the United Way, and they said even your local United Way needs volunteers. And so I went online and I got in contact with them, and they have things where you can go deliver food to people, you can just be on their call center, you can do all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, sign me up. I'm like, I got type A type of person. I need to do something for other people. So that's why I'm here with you today. And, we're going to see a lot of people on tonight because of that. So understand that regardless of your scenario, right, whether you're a Grammy like me who can't see her 16-month-old granddaughter, really problematic for me. And then other parts of me is, how am I going to get my training in? Like, my training is my other part of my life. Like, it's my control factor, right? We talk about in the Mama G lifestyle that we can control only that which we can control. I talk about the fact that controlling what we put in our mouths and how we move our bodies. And even now in the midst of this COVID, pandemic, we saw for a glimpse problems within our food supply. But I think that's settling out, and we'll talk about that as well. We're also starting to see some restrictions come across where you might be limited to how much you could actually leave your business. A lot of us lost access to gyms, which we were used to. I've got athletes, NC2A athletes, Olympic hopefuls who are training, and they just lost their seasons, they lost their Olympics, at least temporarily. So our hopes and dreams, those of you that are getting married, those of you who want to have babies, who aren't going to try to get pregnant now, I mean, there's so many aspects of our lives that have been halted. That's it. Not crushed, not destroyed, not ended, but halted, right? So, we have to start to think about what it's going to look like, how we can be part of, right? We talk about flattening that curve. The UK just came up, ironically, because they were actually in a scenario where they were trying to see if they could just get as many people as possible to get the virus. And then all of a sudden they put the squash on that. And now they came up with a really good kind of set of requirements for the entire United Kingdom. And I actually like it. And I hope the United States will maybe take that on. California is pretty proactive, but even within California, we've got a lot of limitations because we have so much outdoor space, and we're seeing a lot of congregating. And we don't need to congregate. We got plenty of outdoor space here. Unfortunately, I know I've got clients in other parts of the country, back east, who now are in the midst of snow, which, holy smokes. So I want you all to take a deep breath, right? I'll take a deep breath. We just realize that our lives have been put on hold. I can't even tell you how many times I would say, like, oh man, if I could just stay home. Now I'm home. Last thing I want to be is have to just stay home. But, we've got to look for the best. So one of the things I've seen in terms of food, seen a couple different scenarios here. So I wrote them down. So I want to talk about them. So I have clients that are grazing throughout the day, that they don't have any structure, and 100% they are on the potential COVID-19 gain. We don't want to do that. So, even the other day I posted that I was starving, and I am so restricted. No, I am so calculated, and I have so much willpower when it comes to my exercise and my food. Even me, like being home, kind of stressed out, feeling a lot of anxiety, like had these points in the middle of, between meals and snacks where felt like I was starving. And I have the willpower to just counter it. But I tell you what, shh, got 5 other people living in my house who are doing a lot of eating, and it's going to be problematic for them. So number 1, I keep my mouth shut. Number 2, I keep providing beautiful, wholesome foods. I also have put restrictions on, I'll send a text when it's before lunchtime, and I'll say, okay, this is what's available for leftovers today. Don't go find a new food to eat. So, I've got that segment of the population. Do you fit into that population, right? Are you grazing throughout the day and you have no structure? I have the second population of clients who are afraid to eat, right? Because they can't get their workouts in. They're thinking that they only deserve to eat if they, burned a certain amount of calories. So number 1, you got to get that out of your head. So step 1, everybody, regardless of who you are within the Mama G lifestyle and worldwide, 1,500 calories is your minimum. So I'm going to tell you this. You're home now. Maybe you were somebody who was working a healthy plate. Maybe you weren't really interested in potentially thinking about using MyFitnessPal. Now's the time. Now it's time to start learning portions and serving sizes, making sure you're getting enough nutrition, because some of us don't eat when we're stressed. A lot of us overeat when we're stressed. So now's the perfect time to actually do some calculations with MyFitnessPal to figure out your meals and snacks so that we make sure we get enough calories. Then we talk about those activities of daily living. If you've got dogs, if you're taking walks, if you're doing some of those things, you're going to get a couple hundred calories in there. That's great. Now, if you're getting some calculated exercise like Mama G, because I'm super lucky to have access to weight equipment and I have legs that work, so I can ride my bike. I can do stairs outside 1 day a week. I do a run 1 day a week. I do a run 1 day a week. And now we're adding in a hike 1 day a week. 5 hours plus exercise of just my cardiovascular. Then I have my three days of strength in there. So I don't care who you are. There are so many options for you. Samantha B, would be love to, give you some tips and pointers on all of those things. We have so many people out there in the internet world, right, that are offering free body weight exercises, free this, that, and I got a million things for you. So no matter who you are, we can get you taken care of. For those of you who are training my athletes out there, you need to be talking to your trainers and coaches as to what they want you to be doing. And then you and I together can discuss what your calorie output looks like and if we need to adjust back or what that might look like for you. Some of you may now have more time to exercise. And so guess what? It's going to look a little bit different for you. So highly recommend, no matter who you are, getting on the scale once a week. All right. That allows you to have a metric to see what's happening, but not getting on that scale any more than that. So deep breaths with that. So let me just go back to my people. So talked about the people who are grazing throughout the day, no structure, on the potential to gain the COVID-19. 2, those of you who think you don't deserve to eat because you're not burning enough calories. 3, those of you who have a very, very rigid eating and exercise schedule. And, you want to be able to control something in your lives. And they could easily be over exercising and injured. No. Okay. So again, this is where you got to communicate. I definitely have clients who can have the potential to overtrain. And we're going to tell you this right now. Here's a good time to do this. So by the way, you NC2A athletes, you future Olympic hopefuls, now may be a time to take it down a notch. All right. All right. We don't have that, we don't have NC2As coming up. We don't have Olympic trials coming up. We might need to just go into kind of a maintenance mode. Take a moment. If you got injuries, let's get some work going. A lot of the physical therapy studios are working and the chiropractors are working. Whatever aid you need in terms of healing your body, now is the time. This morning, I actually rolled out for probably 45 minutes in an hour. which I never do, but I need to do because I had time. And the fourth type of individual that I'm seeing is those who have maintained, a typical eating pattern, aka the Mama G lifestyle, have figured out how to maintain their fitness with a new exercise game plan, aka the Mama G lifestyle. That's really important. So I hope that we're all going to get to be number 4 and number 3 if you're not getting over exercising and getting injured. But we got to get there. We got to get to number 4 where you've got a game plan. Even every day now through this whole thing, I have made sure that I have showered or bathed. I try to take advantage of soaking, especially if I'm working out, in a little Epsom salt, which are plentiful at the grocery stores, right? And fixing my hair, putting a little makeup on, all right? Getting dressed, all of those things will make you feel more human. Making your bed, all right? Important. Now, if you want to look at the rest of my house, certain areas of my house, living areas for everybody else, all tidy and nice, you go to my laundry room, which I'm in the present mode of ripping apart. My husband can't stand that front room area where I'm in the present mode of ripping apart. Just tell him not to go that way because that stresses him out big time. But bottom line is we've got to find structure for you in a calculated way. We've got to reduce your fear of getting fat and losing muscle and losing your fitness. And so let's talk about what that could look like for you. And if you have any thing you want to say, I've got the chat bar up here. So please feel free to put a chat out there. At the end, I will just open it up to everybody. Maybe we'll try to go the old Brady Bunch style, see if I can get you all on there. If we don't have internet bandwidth issues, we don't want to break the internet. So, yeah. And let me just say this, going up on all these sidebars. You need to be drinking a cup. This would be probably 12 ounces of water here. You need to be drinking a cup of water at every meal and snack, period. And then you need to have a water bottle. This is my Soda Stream. I put a little raspberry flavoring in it today. I probably go through 2 or 3 of these. So I have to go pee at least twice a night. But hey, the old kidneys work. So we'll look at the benefits there. So water, don't forget it. All right. That'll help keep you full as well. So step one, we've got to come up with a daily schedule that includes when you're going to get up. So guess what? Still getting up 6 a.m. Except on the weekends, normally would get up 6 a.m. every single day. On the weekend, I'm kind of going, well, be a little bit, give myself a little bit more slack. I am doing a daily rosary with a group on Facebook. So I am doing that rosary at 6:30 a.m. Anyway, Monday through Friday. So I'm still going to get up at 6 a.m. On the weekends, I may push that to later. Workouts are going to be probably a little bit different, not so early, just because we can in this very strange time of our lives. But you really do need to have a get up time, all right? You need to have your calculated meal time. So my calculated meal times are around 6, around noon, afternoon snack around 4, dinner 7:38, after dinner Mama G elixir, my soy and my cacao and turmeric and that stuff, around 9:30. That's when I eat, period. It doesn't change. All right. Samantha B was just saying, I think it was yesterday, she started to feel bad. She had done some work at her studio, came back. She couldn't figure out. She told her husband, I think I got it. I'm not feeling so good. And she went, oh my gosh, I didn't eat lunch or a snack. She said, I haven't not eaten lunch or a snack in years. And she just got busy and everything's a little bit off kilter and confusing. And you cannot not eat. Your body needs fuel. Can't be driving that car around without fuel. Cut it out. Don't be driving that body around without fuel. All right. So think about that. So you also should have a plan of when you're going to exercise. And it's hard. You got a million podcasts you can listen to. I like listening to music, especially nowadays, because I feel like so much is overwhelming for me. So I don't listen to my normal stuff that I would normally listen to, doctor's radio and stuff, because everything is about COVID-19. And I, try to just limit that to kind of like one expert advice period a day, but calculate on paper, right? I don't know if you want to use paper, if you want to use a whiteboard or make a schedule on docs or whatever like that. Meal times, exercise schedule. When are you going to watch TV? Guess what? The only time that I watch TV still, even during the pandemic, is after I've cooked dinner at night. And I allow one show. And one of the things that I will tell you is, there's a lot of binge watching going on. And this is, again, control what you can control. Like, it doesn't feel good to me to be laying on the couch and watching TV, because number one, it kind of drives anxiety and depression for me, which are things that I have struggled with at times when I've been injured, and that kind of just reminds me of those period of times. So I try not to be in those situations. Weekends are certainly more relaxed. I'll take a nap sometimes on the weekend, especially if we get a long run in or a hike or something like that. But during the week, I'm pretty regimented, which means, that I'm only watching that one show in the evening with the family. Sometimes they try to pressure me into watching two if we're in a series, and I said, nope. Unless it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I'm not watching two shows. So again, you got to figure out what works for you. This is what works for me. And I'm, kind of pretty regulated, especially during the week. Things like alcohol, right? I was just saying to my family, I'm like, I could 100% see how I could become a drinker. Like, it'd be so easy to just like have a drink, take the anxiety out. I pretty much don't drink, pretty much ever. And guess what? That ever is turned into a never during this isolation period, because it will lower my inhibitions. It'll drive me to potentially not have as much self-control with foods and snacks and those kind of things. There's no positive to it at all. So I'm not even stepping into that zone. And there's a little bit of drinking going on in my house. So, again, it's called willpower. You have the ability to use it or not. All right. Now's an opportunity to do some book reading. Thank God homework's over, but I've even had to kind of make sure that I do my work to actually, before COVID-19, I could work for 12 hours straight. 12 hours straight, work on my computer, Mama G's lifestyle, my foundation, Be a Hero. Now I'm finding it's really hard to focus on this kind of stuff. So now I'm cleaning out closets and acting like an idiot. But I've scheduled it in, and I worked for a couple hours this afternoon, and then I went into my nemesis, the laundry room right now, and I went and did a little bit of organizing. So, it's okay to read some things for joy, to actually be able to detach from some of the things that are going on. But put a schedule together for yourself. You will be much more logical, and it will help you maintain sanity as well. If you're afraid that you will spend the day, exercising too much, or, on the other side of it, you've got to limit your activity. You've got to really figure out what that would look like. An hour of hard exercise, or 2 hours of a, light, gentle activity like walking or something like that. The tennis courts are open still. Interestingly, they've taken the hoops off of the basketballs, because I guess they figure more than one person can do that. They might lock up the tennis courts at some point. They also have, closed the playgrounds. Oh, it's just really unbelievable what's going on. But anyway, you got your legs. Some of you might be dealing with injuries. So we have to think about, other things you can be doing. Bands are really super cheap on the internet. And if you need recommendations, resistance bands, a TRX machine, TRX straps, $100. Like, these are really things that are useful that you could have with you. You can actually take them like when you go on vacations again someday, that will help you get your fitness in. So lots of options for you. You just need to have a conversation with myself or Samantha B or in the group, and we can help you out there. I want you to think about your eating. I talked about the importance of drinking water, so make sure you're doing that. But I also want you to take a moment. I am potentially the fastest eater in the world. I say moms learn to just, throw their food down and then, have to deal with everything else. And I'm kind of that way still, even though I don't have littles with me most of the time. But you know, take the moment to really enjoy your food. The beauty of the Mama G lifestyle, I will tell you, as I've walked into the stores on a regular basis, because I'm doing shopping for a lot of the families in my area and for my priest and a lot of people who can't get out, is I've been in the stores, and I've been in all stores. I've been to big box stores like Costco. I've been to Smart and Final. I've been to a Sprouts. I've been to Trader Joe's. I've been to my grocery stores. Is number one, once we got through those first few days where we didn't have like things that can go in a pantry, it's all back. And the things are kind of regulated. Like you can only buy 2 things of this or 2 things of that, which is awesome. I love that, because now it's going to prevent people from hoarding. But the produce is bountiful, especially here in California. We have everything. Every kind of fruit or vegetable that you want is available. I even was able to buy some. I mean, there's flowers, and I mean, pretty much everything is out there. Today I walked into my grocery store. I bought chicken, which I'm going to make the nacho chicken and veggies tomorrow. I bought a pork shoulder, which I couldn't find because I want to on the weekend make this braised pork and root vegetables delicious meal. So this is where me, Mama G, never planned in terms of meals. It's like, oh, what do I feel like today? I'll go to the grocery store and buy. Now I have to plan. So I want you to really think about what your game plan is. Get into the Mama G recipes because they're awesome. I've been going back and using old recipes, and the way that you know what an old recipe is, you're not going to see the parentheses that'll say the amount of non-starchy veggies and the amount of starchy grainy carbs. That's one thing for sure. The recipes look a little bit different now. Now we've kind of, you know, we've gone down to the avatar that utilizes the 400 calories. Remember, some of us are bigger avatars. We get 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 of the avatar meal. It's 400 calories. It's 100 to 120 calories of starches and grains. It's at least 75 calories of non-starchy veggies. It's protein, at least 20 grams, and it's hitting percents of fat, you know, around 25 to 35. So those are all those kind of basic parameters. Hopefully this doesn't sound foreign to you, but those allow us to build a meal that can help you be successful. Makes you feel full, makes it yummy, and then they're built around all the recipes. So try some of them. I just pulled out an old one, the moussaka. You watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is ground turkey, which all kinds of beautiful spices and eggplant, and just had it leftovers today. It was awesome. So I'm crazy with cooking and building of recipes. Go back, go utilize some of the recipes. You will really, really enjoy what's going on. Practice eating normally. All right. We talked kind of about that schedule. You know, what are your times of day you're going to eat? I know if you're not at work, it's different. If you're not training, it's different. It all feels so different. But again, coming up with a normal schedule of meal times, and that you make sure you actually do it at that time. And, you know, I think one of the biggest problems is having foods in the house that are problematic for you. So, you know, this is where you got to be very careful. Now, all of a sudden you got more people in your house, more people who eat maybe foods that you don't eat. You know, I brought in a couple extra people end up coming into my house. So now I've got a lot of different people on here. I don't have the issue, but I noticed that I have like one drawer that's in the back of the pantry that you have to actually move the high chair and some other stuff to get into it. It's like the dessert drawer. It's like where I keep the chocolate chips. And, you know, if I have, you know, cookies or different things, they might be in there. Man, people are digging into that drawer on me all the time now. And it's interesting, right? And I know because they move the high chair out of the way or the stuff out of the way and don't put it back. So it's like, I know what's going on here. But even my husband, you know, like bought like, you know, low calorie ice cream bars and some ices and, you know, so it's just, you know, we got to be really mindful of what you're bringing into the house. And it's not like we're deprived at all. We're eating beautiful, wholesome food. Take advantage of the Facebook page. Take advantage of what people are posting. Try some new recipes on the Mama G website, and you should feel really good about your food choices and not be driven to eat those treats that might be in your house. But again, really trying to, ask people not to sabotage you. Number one, they probably shouldn't be eating them on a daily basis. They're treats and splurges. So maybe on the weekend, you guys make a decision to buy a gallon of ice cream or a half gallon of ice cream or whatever the size is. And I'll share it, my ice cream cones, and, have an ice cream cone. Maybe like tonight is one of our house guests, her birthday. So somebody's going to make cookies. I'm debating on if I'm going to have one. Probably not, because I noticed that, like, if I have one, number one, I'll probably want two. And if I, God forbid, I ate two, I would 100% not feel good with the whole sugar high going on. So yeah, kind of deciding what that's going to look like for me. If I choose to have one, I will have one. That's it. So, we'll make a decision, game day decision, game moment decision, in terms of what I'm going to do with that. But it's going to come down to if I want to have it, if I really feel like it's going to be something that's going to give me extra joy in my life, or once it passes my taste buds, that it's over and I got nothing out of it, right? So it's going to be a decision I'm going to make. You might be spending too much time thinking about food and exercise and your weight at this point in time. So, this is where you might need a little hand holding. So this is where I'm going to suggest to you that you, if you have, for instance, a Jumpstart package, you get sessions with me and we can do them virtually just like this. So it might be a good time if you need strategies for me to help you do some meal planning, come up with some ideas on how to incorporate some of the foods you might have. So ask for my help. That's why I'm here. I would be more than willing and thrilled to help you. You might need to also reach out to a therapist, all right? Like, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, whether it's a financial, whether your business is shut down, whether you've got bills due, whether you have a job, all kinds of stuff, whether you can't see your granddaughter, whether your kids are in another state. There's a million things that'll stress you out here, and you might need a therapist, right? You might need to do a little talk therapy. Now, with my clients, I do a lot of talk therapy. We do a lot of psychological work. We do a lot of psychological work because so much of your food is tied up in your brain. But you may need to delve into some really deep, aspects of your life. And it might be time to call that therapist or find a therapist. It's all happening virtually nowadays. So really consider it. Take advantage of the Facebook page. I think it's really important that, I would say misery loves company, but also joy loves company, when we can, kind of show what we're doing and share what's happening and give tips and ask questions and ask for help. Really helps to kind of have that community to, drive you. We have what's called San Clemente Life, a page where it used to be just a nice place to ask for referrals or this or that. And it was a really nice place. Now that there's 30,000 people on this page, it has turned into a cesspool. And the only reason I ever go on it is, number one, to ask for a recommendation for something, or number two, because somebody I know commented on it and it comes across my newsfeed. But holy crappy commentary that's going on in there. So I started my own Facebook page called Finding Joy in Our Little Spanish Village by the Sea. And I don't know, probably got 60, 70 people who have joined on in the last 2 days, and it's all about joy. Like, I will delete your post at a moment if you got negativity. I want to see what people are doing. I want to share positive things like, hey, there's chicken and pork and other things in the grouse, store on El Camino Real. Only 2 things per person, so remember that. But it's just an opportunity to kind of share joy. I put link to the United Way, who was looking for volunteers. Put that up there. I also saw that for people who need financial assistance, need food, different kinds of help, right? I also put a link for that for people who need help as well. So, we can, again, make a move to do something for somebody else. And for me, that has really been the only way that I have been able to exist when I've had extreme obstacles in my life. And reach out to friends. Reach out to your friends, see how they're doing. I actually FaceTimed with Logan earlier, and then I got my daughter, who was not at home at that moment, FaceTiming as well. And I wanted to get Olivia on, but they were out for a walk, and it was just kind of fun to kind of have that group, scenario there. So encourage you to use FaceTime or Skype or things like Zoom platforms to have community opportunities with your family, your friends. I'm not really necessarily crazy about the happy hours that are happening where everybody's drinking and eating, but we can play charades. Like, what's Mama G gonna do when she's done with the call? She's gonna cook. Anyway, all right. I am going to, that's what I have to say. I am going to put you all on the gallery view, and I'm going to suggest that if you want to say something, take yourself off, turn your video on, unmute yourself, which you can do, and speak. Otherwise, we will all go back about our daily business. We got Kelly in Minnesota. We've got my sister who is in Denver. Seeing some other zip codes up here. I don't know where people are. So I'm going to sit here quietly for a moment. See if you guys want to chat me up here in the chat bar. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question. If you need me to give you a suggestion. All right.
I feel like, oh, hi. I feel like, oh, wait, let me turn my video on so you can see me.
Good.
Okay.
Hey,
wait,
Jay.
why do I have this
Look at your background there.
I don't really know how that happened, but okay, I'll just leave that there. But anyways, and so I found for myself that I've been sticking to your recipes really well. And so like, that's been great, except I'm cooking like every day. And so then that's the part that makes it so that I'm like not as motivated to keep going because I'm cooking like every single day. But I don't actually have a pot that's big enough to like double the recipe. So what would you recommend as far as that? Or like, are there certain meals that you would say, kind of have more servings to them just like naturally? Like I know some like the tamale pie, that one has a little bit more servings, and I really enjoyed the chicken and wild rice soup.
Yeah.
That was really good. And so that had a lot of servings. Are there any other special ones that you would point out?
Oh, there's so many, and some of you should get on here and help us. So let me talk about the maybe 1.5ing or doubling of recipes, right? Yesterday, I did the turkey osso buco. Holy crap. So this is what happened. I walked into my Sprouts, no idea what they're going to have, right? Walking through the, oh, there you go.
Okay.
Walking through the, meat department, and I spotted turkey parts. Like, I'm a big fan of turkey, like turkey and meat. Like, I could eat turkey on a regular basis. My husband's like, turkey's only for Thanksgiving and Christmas, which makes me crazy. And I'm not talking about turkey. So I saw turkey parts, and I knew I had this recipe for osso buco. And let me tell you what, this thing is like magic. So I knew I was going to double that recipe. So I actually had to use 2 pots and doubled it up. So, things like that. I do recommend, like you will go out. Do you belong to Costco? Oh, lost you.
Yes, I do go to Costco.
So I am going to make a recommendation that you actually take a trip, right? In the next week or two, somebody you know is going, because I think it's good. What I've been doing is I have been asking like my people, right? Hey, we're going to Costco. What can I get you? So I think that's important, so that we kind of, right, flatten the curve and lessen the amount of people out there. But they have a very large saucepan, this big, with a lid, and it's pretty darn inexpensive. I really think like having something like that, having an extra large soup pan. So even somewhere like, you can look online as well, Bed Bath & Beyond. No, it's not Bed Bath & Beyond. Yes, Bed Bath & Beyond. Is that what it's called? Number one, they always have 20% off coupons. So, they have free shipping now, or you can drive by the store and pick it up. You can find a large, heavier duty, soup pot, like having the, like the 3 nonstick skillets as well, which again are very
Mhm.
expensive. So places like Home Goods, I don't know if they're open, but online, like even I went to Target the other day because I had to get a couple things. People were calling and saying, oh, there's online, our online uh, store pickup is like 3 hours behind. But who knew you could actually order stuff
Oh wow.
and you get there and they bring it out to you. So stores are being very ingenuitive. Is that the word? But a couple things, right? A big soup pot, a big saute, a sauce, and I'll take a picture and put it on the face, or I'll send it to you, or I'll put it on the Facebook group too, with a lid, right? Because
Yeah.
you can make things like the turkey bolognese or different things where you have large quantities. Otherwise, you just use 2 darn pots and you get it
All
done.
right. All
I
right. Cool.
personally, like for me as part of my schedule, being able to cook every day is something I have come to love. Now, my hope is, you're going to come to love it. And now that you have a little more time, right? Who knows
Yeah.
what that's going to look like? But I do agree with if you can do a little bit more batch cooking, right? So what we do is
Hmm.
so different from the old, what's it called? Like when people like make 5 meals in a row and it's all there and it's like the sweet potato and the
Oh,
grilled
the meal prep.
the meal prep
Yeah.
and meal prep. No, batch cooking is a whole nother story. And then thinking about, then how you're going to portion that stuff out. And so that gets a little
Hmm.
complicated too, in terms of your cooking containers or storage containers or things like that, right? It gets
Yeah.
complicated. So a tip on those kind of things is maybe you don't have a lot of Tupperware. What you can do is you can use like Ziploc bags,
Hmm.
and, get the Ziploc on them and then lay them flat, like in the freezer, right?
Hmm.
Then you can stack them up as well. So all of those things are good tips, but, double up, like you said, like try to use 2 pans, ask friends who don't cook, hey, got any pots or pans you want to donate for a while, you know?
Yeah.
But definitely, try to take advantage in terms of which recipes. It's so difficult. There's so
Yeah.
many great recipes. That's where I say follow the Facebook page, pop on there at least once a day, see what people are cooking. Again, sometimes I'll just do a post that'll say, hey, give a shout out to the newbies in terms of what your favorite, Mama G recipes are, because there are some really, really awesome ones. And, people kind of get into their repertoires and they forget. And then it's like, oh, I forgot about this Florentine. So the
Hmm.
Florentine is like spinach and grape tomatoes, and you could either pair it with like a bean pasta, like the Banza chickpea pastas, and you don't even need like an animal protein, or you can use a regular pasta and then pair it with, shrimp or chicken or whatever. I bought halibut this week, so there's so many options like that, but you forget. And then what's nice about things like that, when you do sauces like the mac and cheese sauce, it's actually 2 batches. You would partner that with
Oh, okay.
a certain amount, and it says it in the recipe. Then you
Hmm.
have one for now, and then you put one in the freezer. So a lot of them where there's sauces and things like that, and then you would pair it with a starch and your protein. Don't take up as much space, and you could easily double recipes like that. So we'll have to ask that
Okay.
question on the Facebook page. I think it's a good point. Unlike Mama G, who needs to cook every day, like work out every day. What else, Jade? Anything else?
um, I don't think so far. I mean, I've been able to work out for the most part. Um, Weightlifting has kind of been changing, and I know that tomorrow USA Track and Field is supposed to have a meeting with us to announce some changes, like now that the Olympics will be postponed.
Right.
So I'm about to see if my season is like over, or if there's going to be like other little competitions. So yeah, it's interesting because I'm like on my way to peak up in
Yeah,
in
you're right
training.
there. You're right there, and you're
Yeah.
like son
So
of a bitch.
yeah, pretty much. So I'm gonna,
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, and I know know a lot of NC2A athletes that were in the same situation. It's like holy crud, and everybody's struggling with like, what do I do now? So that's where we
yeah.
start to talk about, again, in your situation, it's like, and for all of you out there watching this, you have to understand that a lot of us were training for something, right? Whether you're training for,
Mhm.
a marathon, whether you're training for the Olympics, whether you're training for, your water polo season, whatever that is. A lot of us were in full swing and reaching, our full capacity. And this is where you start to have the nagging, right? And the nagging, and this and that. And this is where you really is a time to take the step back, right? And, talk to your trainers and coaches and all of those people in your life that help you with your programming, your therapist, right? Your physical therapist, your chiropractors, and all of those
Yes.
aspects, your nutritionist, and, like take it down a notch and allow your body to heal so that when things go back to our normal, right? You're going to be ahead of the game with everybody else. The last thing that any of us want to do is want to cower in our homes, right? Sit on the couch, not think about your nutrition, and not get any exercise, because we start to lose our aerobic capacity very quickly. We start to lose the strength component very quickly, but we can maintain
Mhm.
it. We can maintain it really easily. But man, getting up to that point is rough. But sitting here is
Yeah.
pretty damn easy, right? But number one, you got to feed yourself. Step one, folks, we got to eat. And then step two, we got to get calculated exercise in depending on your circumstances and your lifestyle. So I think that's really important. It was making me think about something else that I wanted to say, and crashed and burned on that one. Let's see, Kelly. So Kelly from Minnesota said, they have very few fresh veggies here. What are good options for canned and frozen? So number one, on the canned, we always want to think about low sodium. So if you have an opportunity to buy low sodium canned products, especially like the beans, do it. In all cases, rinse your canned vegetables, all right? In terms of nutritional value, frozen and canned actually probably are superior in nutrition to our fresh produce, because what happens is it goes, from it being picked right into the factory where it's cleaned and then flash frozen. So we're actually holding that nutrition where it is. The problem comes is where how things get mixed with things, if there's sauces and different things. And then a lot of times canned produce, they add a lot of sodium to it. So really be careful with trying to use low sodium or rinsing those vegetables. Frozen typically do not have things added to them, again, unless there's sauces and things. So no problem on those, especially at the big box stores. You're going to find them a little bit cheaper at Costco and places like that, where you can buy big bags of rice cauliflower, big bags of broccoli, big bags of fruit, and that frozen fruit and all of those type of things. So just remember that. Make sure you're reading labels, right? We've done a lot of label reading together lessons for you to help figure that out. I will say upfront and straight up that it's not going to taste the same as fresh produce, all right? But if you're using them in a lot of our stews and soups and those aspects, you're not even going to know the difference, number one. Number two, I actually just saw a hack on how to take frozen vegetables and to make them taste like roasted vegetables. So I am going to do my research on that, because nothing like a good roasted or sauteed veggie out there with fresh veggies. And then doing things like, so again, we got to just think about things like that. Doing things, especially like with frozen broccoli or string beans in that, getting them thawed out, giving them a quick hot saute, all right, with a little bit of olive oil, doing a little Parmesan cheese on top of them, things like that. Using the zest, right, of a lemon, just the yellow part, and sprinkling that on after it's cooked. A little squeeze of lemon really helps to brighten up the flavor. So a little salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, I'm obsessed. Lemon zest, squeeze some lemon on there. A little Parmigiano Reggiano can really be helpful. So I hope that's helpful, Kelly. Spring is coming, so you will start to see more fresh produce in your area as well, because we'll be more plentiful around, the nation, as well, in terms of being able to grow our produce. Those things will continue to happen, luckily, because those businesses are essential for life. And so they're going to do a really good job of keeping us safe. I will tell you that when I went to Costco yesterday, they did a really beautiful job in terms of keeping social distancing. So they actually set up pallets, kind of like you would, go through, the line at like a Disneyland, but you were separated by the pallets, and then people keep their their cart plus a little bit away from each person. They only let in a certain number of people into Costco at the same time. So when you went to the checkout line, they also had lines taped where you had to stay in your little segment, which kept you 6 feet away. Every time a new person went up to the cash register, they sanitized the conveyor belt. I mean, they had strict regulations, and they also limited certain items, breads and different things where you only were allowed like 2 per family. So, the hope is that we get a little smarter with our food. Nobody needs to hoard food. We got plenty of food. But that initial panic was really outrageous. Now people have tons of produce that's going bad, and man, they better not be throwing it out. It's just asinine. So hopefully people are going to be sharing that stuff with other people, and not so we're just going in. Really, that's why you need to plan. This is why you need to meal plan what you're going to be doing, so that when you or somebody else goes to the store for you, or you order on Instacart, you're able to get that stuff in and know that you have a whole week to use it. You should be good to go. Let's see. Any other thoughts from me? Any other thoughts from you? I'm going to think for a second. You can unmute yourself. I'd love to see your lovely faces. And I'm going to think if I have anything else to say. Weather's starting to get better in other parts of the country. I know, again, we just got snow back in Massachusetts. I don't know what's going on with you, Kelly, but you know what? You guys got to get out. You got to get outside, get out in the fresh air. I can't tell you how much movement is going on with families here in SoCal. It's shocking. I train a lot, and I'm out on trails a lot, and I can't even tell you how many people are walking and hiking and jogging and doing things that we never see. And I say, strong work for the Mama G lifestyle. I hope it continues. But the same thing with the food. We got the upper hand here. We know how to do this. We have recipes to support us in our efforts here. So I am here. Samantha B is here. Please utilize WhatsApp to chat with me. If you need me in a pinch, at the grocery store and you need something quick, text me. All right. It's the same number via WhatsApp. Use the Facebook group. Think about scheduling sessions with me. If you've got the Jumpstart plan, or you've got sessions that are owed to you, we can do virtual calls. Let me hold your hand through the process, and we will do a really good job of getting through this horrific crisis that we are in right now. And hey, tell you what, number one, put your oxygen mask on first. Number two, take care of the people you love that are in your home. Number three, if there's any way that you can reach out to somebody in need, do it. You will feel so much better when you can help somebody else through this crisis. All right. You know what Mama G says? It is not about what you lose, folks. It's all about what you gain. Have a try to have a beautiful evening.